Welcome to Immigration Quicktake. This is Ellie Rutledge Silver with the American Immigration Lawyers Association. Yesterday, the White House announced its immigration reform plan, providing a path to citizenship for some dreamers in exchange for border wall funding and family reunification restrictions. Here to share more details is Chen, Director of Government Relations at AILA. Greg, thanks for joining me. What is in the White House plan?
Ellie, the White House plan amounts to Stephen Miller's Christmas wish list of anti-immigrant policies. In exchange for some protection for the DACA population, the White House is now demanding cuts to the legal immigration system that will amount to about 400,000 visas being cut in total every year. We are talking about elimination of most of the family-based categories, as well as, within the immediate relative category, elimination of the ability of U.S. citizens to petition for their parents. Also, the diversity visa lottery will be cut entirely. In addition to cuts to the legal immigration system, we are talking about dramatic increases to enforcement. In addition to the $25 billion for the border wall, we're looking at increases in personnel with more hiring money for ICE and CBP agents. That will massively increase the president's deportation force that he's been asking for the past year. We're also looking at increased detention at the border, as well as major undermining of the due process protections, including the use of expedited removal for people who are visa overstays. In exchange for all this, the White House has now indicated it is willing to entertain providing citizenship after a period of 10 to 12 years for those who receive protection under the DACA part of the program. We should be very skeptical, however, of what kinds of criteria and screening the administration will use. Already we've seen across the board in various petition and visa categories sharp declines in grant rates by USCIS, which is just an indication of how this administration wants to tighten and restrict people who are eligible for coming to this country, even if they qualify under the terms of the program. So great skepticism should be there about anything that is written for the DACA eligibility. All these things combined amount to an incredibly imbalanced overall plan that should be rejected outright. It's not even a worthy plan to be looked at by lawmakers.
Why is the president proposing this plan now?
So this is President Trump essentially throwing sand in the face of the congressional bipartisan negotiators that are trying so hard to reach a deal. This is the president packing up his toys and leaving the playground and saying, I want to go back to my anti-immigrant list of agenda items and try to appeal to my nativist base again, rather than really rolling up my sleeves and working hard to reach a bipartisan compromise. A few weeks ago, the president said he wanted 4 things in a deal and that if Congress presented him with such a bill, he would sign it. Now those 4 things were incredibly imbalanced already. It included protection for dreamers, and then on his side of the ledger, border security, new cuts to family immigration, and new cuts to the diversity visa lottery, all of which would be terrible. But the Durbin-Graham negotiating team came up with a plan that met those requirements, and the president just rejected it outright. And that's a clear indication of why the White House is just not negotiating in good faith. And now this new plan signals the same thing.
How will this impact Congress over the next few weeks?
Even if the president has shown that he is unwilling to negotiate in good faith, there is so much building momentum and bipartisan agreement in Congress now to reach a deal to protect dreamers that we have an opportunity to keep this deal moving forward and to reach a deal in the upcoming weeks. One thing that both Republicans and Democrats are saying is that the terms of the deal need to be narrowed and go back to the main focus of protecting dreamers, which Republicans and Democrats now want, and everybody has seen the polling that 9 out of 10 Americans support protecting dreamers. Republicans will still insist that border security be included in this package. But trying to negotiate a comprehensive immigration reform deal in the upcoming weeks is just not going to work or make sense given how limited the time is. To try to add the cuts to the family immigration system, cuts to the diversity visa lottery, or harsh enforcement provisions, that is just not going to be realistic, and it's not even a balanced way to approach negotiations. If the Trump administration wants to keep pushing for that, they're essentially holding hostage protection for the DACA population for the Stephen Miller anti-immigrant plan. And that just wouldn't be a fair approach. So Congress needs to move forward now. Both chambers have negotiating working groups, and there's the opportunity to do it soon. And that's why AILA is keeping a focus on this and insisting that a deal get made very, very soon.
Thanks, Greg, for joining me. For the rest of you, please stay tuned for more updates from the American Immigration Lawyers Association.